Happy Final Shape release date, everyone. I'm so excited to be playing my favorite. It got delayed. Game got delayed. Nobody's buying it. Nobody's buying the pre-orders. Well, what is there to do now besides hang out with the cats and wait to go into that suspiciously warm-looking hole that is currently inside of the Traveler? I mean, I guess Prophecy's getting a loot rework next week. So, getting a Prophecy refresh in the year 2024 was certainly not at the top of my list of things that Bungie would do with the dead time between now and the release of the now delayed Final Shape, but here we are. So, we make with it what we will and do with it what we do. This is a big, quote-unquote, content refresh coming up very soon, and part of this is an overhaul of the dungeon loot pool, but the encounters aren't changing at all. Because of this, I fear for the future of this community. I'm going to be educating what is and isn't ideal loadouts for running Prophecy. Here we go. Admittedly, this guide is going to depend on various factors such as individual skill, but I went through and tested many different damage strategies so you, the viewer, aren't taking Thunderlord into every single encounter. Starting off with both of the traversal / random enemy clearing sections, you can use whatever you want. I'd recommend something arc or something with the damage perk to shoot through enemies, since the toughest thing you're going to be fighting are yellow bar taken knights or ultra minotaurs that are invisible, but you really don't even need to fight those anyway. Moving on to the bosses, starting off with the Phalanx Echo, you can do many things included, but not limited to, Legend of Acreus, rocket launcher spam including Gallowhorn, Apex Predator, Dragon's Breath, Tint Whale Fox. Just know that the Echo Shield is very large, so attack from above is normally a good idea instead of attacking from the ground. Sword spam is still good for a one phase if you're a Lament enjoyer, and Fourth Horseman with the Catalyst is also a phenomenal way to kill this boss, considering it's almost impossible to miss unless you are intentionally throwing. As with all things, those are just my recommended damage options. You use whatever you want as long as you can get it done. Just know if you aren't one-phasing this boss, you're doing something wrong, and you should just put on a Legend of Acreus with the Catalyst. It makes everything so much more simple. Next up is the Cube Room, which even though it has 6 sides, you have to do 7 times. Now this is a very simple encounter. Just have a gun that's capable of killing Taken Knights and enough long-range options to deal with the Hobgoblins, because if you don't, you're gonna have a bit of an uncomfortable time trying to kill them, and besides that, the 2 bosses at the end you can kill with literally anything. Use a super, they will die. Unless the difficulty of this particular activity does get increased, I foresee that this encounter, the final bosses, are going to be incredibly easy no matter what you do, so just use anything. This, my fellow blueberries, is where you use your Thunderword if you really want to use it, because you can use it for everything. So yeah, this is the only encounter you can use Thunderlord on. If I catch you using Thunderlord and anything else, I will personally do you a favor and uninstall the game for you. Just a quick side note on the Sparrow section and the Traversal section. The hidden chests on this particular dungeon are on a timer. If your teammate opens it and you do not get to it in a certain amount of time, it feels like it changes every single time you go through this encounter. The chest will despawn and you won't get anything. Don't be a dummy. Use Strand. Use a sword. If you're not good enough to use your Sparrow, do what I'm doing right now and jump through the platform. So it'll take you longer, but at least you won't die and get stuck with the 45-second respawn timer. Now, on to the final boss. If you cannot do this in one phase, I'm sorry, you need to retire. Just use rocket launchers. Rocket launchers make everything easy unless you're playing with a player who is on PlayStation and doesn't even have a correct loadout. You can probably get this done with 2 people, but a third person would be nice and let you kill it a little bit quicker. Using a Gallowhorn, a Dragon's Breath, and your choice of other legendary rocket launcher, Apex Predator. If you feel like using Hessian's Vengeance, if you're really silly, you can use Twin Tail Fox, which is my personal favorite rocket launcher in the game. You'll get this done pretty quickly. High damage supers, Celestial Nighthawk Golden Gun, Star Eater Scales using the Gathering Storm for the arc. If you're a Warlock, you can use Dawn Chorus with the Dawn Blade, or you can put down a Well, Titan, Thunder Crash, or Bubble with Weapons of Light. Use anything you want, really. Just know, as long as you're attacking the boss, he won't have 3 teleports, so just keep him occupied all the time. No. Also, that the portals he throws at you are much larger than you think they are. So if you get hit by it, it's actually your fault. It's not the boss's fault. It's not Bungie's fault for designing an encounter with inaccurate hitboxes. It is your fault for getting hit by it. So, do what I say. Keep on shooting the boss. Use your abilities on cooldown. And if you run out of ammo, don't just spam your primary weapon. Switch to Malfeasance or something, and you will be A-okay. Currently, the loot is boring. Next week, the loot will be a little better. So, going over what that loot is going to be. Being removed is a Swift Verdict Sidearm, the Long Walk Sniper Rifle, and the Last Breath Auto Rifle. Get these 3 now this week before March 5th while you still have the chance. Being added to this dungeon is the Prosecutor Auto Rifle, the Agitator Submachine Gun, and the Relentless Pulse Rifle, all returning from Year 1 Trials of the Nine. Additionally, the Judgment Hand Cannon is being updated from Kinetic to Stasis with a new Origin trait. The Dark as Before is being converted from Arc to Solar and receiving that new Origin trait. And a Sudden Death is being changed from Arc to Void, again getting that new Origin trait. Finally, these are the new encounter drops. The Phalanx Echo will be getting the Relentless Pulse Rifle and the Prosecutor Auto Rifle. The Cube Encounter will be getting a Sudden Death Shotgun and the Agitator Submachine Gun. And the Kel Echo will be getting the Judgment Hand Cannon and the Darkest Before Pulse Rifle. Farm whatever you don't have and whatever is leaving. You're going to want to get at least some rolls of the former weapons before their elements are changed. They might have some place in the future. But get them now because in 7 days you cannot get the old stuff anymore.